Do you wish to buy a second home but are concerned about the extra money required to cover the ABSD? Isn't it inconvenient to spend money you could be using it for something else? Perhaps a new phone or maybe even a short mini staycation? Well, sure, buying a second home sounds nice, but what if that dream falls flat and becomes a source of your nightmares? The financial kind, of course.
So the big question is this: how busy professionals and homeowners like us make six-figure profits from the property we own safely by doing it with research, data, and numbers. How do we buy in a way without complications and half-guessing, regardless of the market conditions, and still remain profitable? That is the question. Here, I will share with you exactly what we do and how we do it. My name is Edmund, and welcome to Singapore Real Estate Insider.
Hi everyone, it's Edmund here, your Singapore Real Estate Insider, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the ABSD and whether or not you should pay for it as a second property. In short, is it worth it? So, deciding whether or not to purchase a second property even with ABSD is like a blue and red pill situation. Both options have their perks and their consequences. Let me put this into perspective. I recently met a family who have been resided in their HDB for nearly 18 years. And they find themselves at a crossroads, contemplating the purchase of a second property despite the ABSD. So mainly due to their emotional attachment to their HDB. So sentimental reasons are valid, and I have no issues with that. But we also need to go back to the practical standpoint. The new ABSD rates are not cheap. So you see, we all know that Singapore has introduced the new cooling measures for the Singapore property market to ensure sustainability. So despite several measures, the government aims to moderate property prices, which showed signs of actually accelerating. So now the ABSD rates have been increased for various groups of buyers. So for first, the foreigners purchasing residential properties now face a 60% ABSD, up from 30%. And for Singapore citizens buying their second property, we'll see the rate rise from 17% to 20%, and further increases will apply for subsequent properties. What about the PRs? The PRs now face 5% rates, and as well as for entities purchasing properties, will pay 65% ABSD now. Now, these changes are a response to the growing demand from both local and foreign buyers and the potential risk of price increases that outpace economic fundamentals. The increases will impact about 10% of property transactions based on 2022 data. And this marks the third round of cooling measures in the past 16 months. Are you constantly getting overwhelmed with the latest updates in the Singapore real estate market? Have news on cooling measures, interest rates, and property prices got you looking from left to right? Well, look no further because I, Edmund Tan, is here for you. So follow us on our YouTube channel so you can stay updated with the latest Singapore property news all in one go. And don't look at me. Even I'm shocked it has gone this far. But again, it's the only way to keep everything afloat. And that's why the government's plans to align policies with the market needs to ensure a sustainable property market. So the question is, should you get a second property? No, don't answer that yet, because I'm pretty sure you haven't got the full picture. Imagine you stop watching this video and just went, hey, you know what? It's my money. I can do whatever I want. And you just bought the property. Well, that property also has some whatevers that is going to cost you a lot. Here are some key factors that come into play if you buy a second property with ABSD. Number one, the ABSD rates on second property. So the ABSD rates now for second property is 20%, and this additional cost could be factored into your decision-making process. Now stop, check your wallet and see if this can already break your bank. Number two, is the loan and cash component. If you still have an outstanding loan for your first property, you are limited to a maximum loan of 45% for the second property. Additionally, a 25% cash component for the deposit is required. And because of those limitations, this arrangement often leaves you with a restricted budget when considering the purchase of a second property. For number 3, we have the impact on property choice. Given the financial constraints brought about by ABSD and the loan limitations, second property purchases often leans towards smaller units like one-bedroom apartments. However, it's worth noting that the long-term performance of such small units may not be as favorable. And if you're already flinching on these 3 points, then buckle up because we have 4 more. Comment below which key factor on the ABSD rates concern you, and let's discuss how we can help you overcome it. Number 4 comes to our practical standpoint, recovery of ABSD if you decided to pay the ABSD. It's also important to assess how long it would take to recover the additional 20% tax. For example, if you paid $200,000 in ABSD for a $1 million property, you need to rent out the property at $3,000 per month for at least 5 years just to recoup this amount. Number 5, consideration of additional costs beyond ABSD. There are other costs to factor in, such as legal fees, maintenance expenses, and more. This can further impact the financial visibility of purchasing a second property. So while number 6 points to personal experience and attachment, drawing from personal experience, I can relate to the comfort of remaining in a property that you already have because it holds sentimental reason. However, unforeseen circumstances can lead to change in plans. So in my case, unexpected events prompted us to sell our property and transit to a different property. And lastly, we have number 7. Freedom and property options. Paying ABSD could potentially limit the types of properties you can afford, narrowing down your choices. By unlocking the funds tied up in the sale of your current property, you gain the freedom to explore a wider range of property options that align with your family needs. Well, there you have it. I give you 7 factors to take into account if you do decide to go for the second property and ABSD. The full picture has now been laid out, and it is now up to you to decide if it's worth the cost. After all, it's your money, your gains, and your move. In the end, the decision to pay ABSD hinges on your objectives and the goals you have set for your property journey. While emotional attachment to a property is very understandable, evaluating its financial implications will have long-term prospects before making a choice. And if that choice is too hard to make, then we can help you move forward. Again, this is Edmund, your Singapore Real Estate Insider. If you want more videos like this about properties and how they can help you as a busy professional and homeowner get 6-figure profits consistently and safely, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel right now.